Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Alright, today we're going to finish up part 2 of the two-part series on the rear end update of the BMW F10. Today's episode we're going to be doing the carbon fiber rear diffuser, and then we're going to be going out to the muffler shop and doing the exhaust, where we're going to be doing the dual exhaust system and then installing these carbon fiber dual exhaust tips on it. The carbon fiber diffuser that we're using, it's a single wall carbon fiber diffuser, meaning that most likely, or most of the installation is going to be used with a 3M VHB double-sided tape, and then on the bottom section we'll probably be using some fasteners, either screws or rivets. Some diffusers are double wall, meaning they're actually thicker all the way around, and then at that point you would actually, from the back side of your bumper, you would actually drill into the diffuser, or even use rivets to fasten in to the back of the diffuser. But this is a thin wall diffuser, so you'd be applying double-sided 3M VHB tape to adhere this one all the way around, and then on the bottom where it's not visible, you would be going from the bottom, actually this way, from the bottom into the bottom of your diffuser and attaching it that way. I'll show you more as we get into the installation. Let's pull the car in. I'm going to get it up on some stands so that we have access to the bottom, and I'll give you step by step and show you how we install this. So let's get the car in the garage and get started. Alright, car's up on stands. This way we have proper access underneath the car to look underneath the bumper if we need to access anything, remove any panels. But yeah, it's still a perfect height to work on the front of it. This way it just makes the whole job a lot easier. So let's get started. I'm going to get underneath the bumper, see what we have that's blocking our way, remove any panels that are needed. And then I'll probably start taping the front of the bumper to see if we have to make any marks, cuts. It's dual exhaust, so of course we're probably going to have to cut out for the second set of exhausts. The way this diffuser goes on, it goes on over the stock bumper cover. It doesn't look like we would be removing this center section here, but once we get into it, we'll know for sure. So let's start looking at it and see what we've got to do. Alright, so since we're dealing with a nice carbon fiber diffuser, I laid out a nice or a moving blanket on the floor. We're going to probably be applying this to the car, putting it down, applying to this car, putting it down many times, just to get the right fitment, to make our marks on the bumper, see where we need to cut, see where we need to fine-tune fitment, this and that. So we don't want to scuff up the diffuser as many times as we're going to be putting it up against the car and putting it back on the ground. So we got that there, so we could just toss it on there. It's a good large enough area that we can sit that down on. Also too, for taking anything off the car that we don't want to get scratched up, we could put that there. So allow yourself a good enough work area that's padded that you can lay things down on. Right now I'm going to get underneath the car, start seeing what's underneath here that's in my way that we need to start taking off, and then then we'll start working with this front section here. I'll probably be putting some 3M tape on here, test fitting the diffuser to the front here, making my marks, see what I need to cut out. I know for sure I'm most likely going to have to cut out for the second set of exhaust. I don't know if I'm going to have to open up this any wider, but we'll see once we first fit this up here. I may have to drop the stock exhaust just to give me more clearance to test fit this on, but again, we'll also see once we first test fit the diffuser on. So let's get underneath the car, see what we need to remove to start getting this process started. So already I see there's a bottom shield attaching the metal trunk pan of the car to the bumper cover. It's a black plastic shield, and then there's another black plastic shield. It looks like it's underneath where the battery tray is. Both these are just held in with a simple snap or push-in snap clips. I'm going to pull those out. Once I pull them out, I'll show you what those shields look like. The other thing too, you might want to have a tray to catch all the fasteners. This was the bottom shield that I was telling you about, that basically connects the rear trunk pan to the bumper cover. Once that's disconnected, then we have access to the back of the bumper cover. In case we want to put any fasteners behind that, we can get that. If we want to make any cuts, we can actually see behind here and make sure that we're not cutting anything, any wires, any other things that are in the way too. When you drop that too, make sure you're out of the way. This way you don't get a mouthful of dirt or dust. The other tray that was underneath the basically the other plastic cover that was underneath the battery tray. So this one fit underneath here. It would block where the dual exhaust goes. The battery tray is pretty much underneath here, and in the center here there's this, like where the spare tire would go in these. So now we have access if we want to make a cut for the other set of dual exhausts. Again, let me look back here, see if there's anything else, and then we can start fitting up the rear diffuser for the first time. All right, I'll set both of these aside, give us more space. We're done with the pry tools and picks for now, and most of our wrenches. Like I said, it's always good to look behind here. With all these Mercedes, BMWs, modern cars, before you make any cuts or drilling, you want to double check. I did see a harness actually dropping down here in a control box. So again, that's something you always want to spot out for. You didn't want to, just shove a fastener straight up through here to fasten this and drill right through that control box or snag a wire. So that's one good reason to drop all of these panels, look back behind here. I'm not sure what that control box does. It could be an impact box or something else that they just stuff back there. But again, because this one doesn't have the rear park assist or anything else. So that's the only thing I could think that it would be. Again, that's why you want to get back up underneath these things, check them out before you start cutting, drilling, or anything like that. They do stuff a lot of items behind these bumpers, so you don't want to just start drilling into them or cutting into them without looking. So I'm going to put my first test fit, see what's blocking, what's not blocking, and then we can go from there. I know for sure this side's going to hit because it needs the right side's going to hit because it needs the exhaust cut out. But I'm not sure about the left side at all. There's another bracket behind here that because of this vented grill, I do have to cut into here. And the bracket houses that harness, so that bracket would have to be relocated. So right now I'm trying to see how I would remove that without removing the whole bumper cover. Worst case scenario, I can remove the whole bumper cover, but I'm trying to see if I can remove it without removing the whole bumper cover. Alright, so after looking at it pretty good, it does look like we have to completely remove the bumper cover, so let's get started by taking off the rest of it. We already took off the bottom panels, so we just basically have to remove any screws that are in this area and then around the wheel areas. I don't think there's anything around here, but we'll check, and then it should come free. This way we could remove that support that's behind here that would block where we need a cut for that vent. So let's get started on that. this was that panel I was telling you guys about. This was that one harness I was telling you. And this was the panel. So I was trying to fit this. You see the disc was in the way. So I need to remove this. It looks like this clips in here. And probably relocate this up here. I'll probably zip tie this module up here. So this I won't be using anymore. That module I'll zip tie up here. That's clean out of the way. Nothing's going to get to. Make sure the wiring's all out of the way too. The module had 2 holes in it. I ran the zip tie through the 2 holes. This way it doesn't slide out of the zip tie. And then this one is just wrapped around the module, but through 2 of the slots in this back piece. This way the module can't vibrate or slide out of it or won't fall off with road vibration or anything like that. This way it'll be up there and it'll be good. Fortunately, that's the only reason we had to take off the bumper cover. So we pretty much can put that bumper cover back on. I don't see any other reason to keep it off. I might cut this exhaust muffler off while I have the bumper cover off right now. So let's just take care of that right now, and then put the bumper cover back on. Alright, simple as that. This one is a vacuum line. It's an actual valve for the exhaust. A lot of the newer BMWs have that to basically open up and get a throatier sound for the exhaust in sport mode. I'm pretty much going to put a vacuum plug on this. I'll leave it hanging down for now, but remember to block this off. If you're going to go aftermarket exhaust or whatever, you don't want to have a vacuum leak. It's not on constantly, it's just on when switched, but still you want to block that off. Just kind of line it up at first before you start snapping everything in. You don't want to start bending any of the tabs. Just all lined up first. So bumper cover's reinstalled. I'm going to wipe it down real quick and I'm going to kind of vacuum up, clean up right here. Then we'll start working on the diffuser again. I gotta put these two pieces back on, and that's about it. So let me just clean up real quick, and then we'll start working on the diffuser again. Alright, so I got the back end cleaned up pretty much. I'm gonna start test fitting the diffuser on. I brought out different rolls of blue tape. What I plan on doing is more or less putting blue tape all over the area that I intend on the diffuser fitting over. I'm going to probably mark my center point of the rear bumper, and also put blue tape on the diffuser, mark my center point on that. This way I can make some reference measurements. What's going to have to happen is there's going to be two cuts on the rear bumper cover, one for the second exhaust outlet, and two for this rear grille area, since it's recessed in. So this way, if I have a center point here and a center point here, I can make reference areas and know where I need to cut. I want to keep the bottom area or the bottom section of my original bumper cover for strength if possible, and not just totally cut off the bottom section in the middle, which would be easier. So what I kind of want to do is just cut out center section, which is a little bit more complicated, but it'll keep the rigidity of the bumper cover. So the best thing to do is find your center section of both of these, measure out, see the width and the height of this reference from the center, and take that measurement from here, apply it to the bumper cover, and start cutting here. Test fit it back and forth, see if this fits on and that it's able to fit up against the bumper, and these actually fit within it, and go from there. So let's start applying tape, taking measurements, and see if we could get this thing to fit. right, now that we have everything marked, we can start drilling and cutting into our bumper. Just kind of take it little by little, and hopefully we got everything on marked out right. Alright, so I got most of the rough shape cut out. I'm going to go over, clean up some of my edges with a DA, a little die grinder. And then what I'm going to do is the bottom trim panels that we removed fit in with trim clips. This bottom piece actually overhangs that. I'm going to fit this back in, put some blue tape on the inside here. With the little marker, mark these holes and drill out through this, and I'm going to probably use speed clips, and instead of the push-in clips, I'll probably use fasteners or something to put that bottom piece in to tie all three pieces together in the center section here, and then on the two outer pieces I'll probably either use rivets or screws going into these two corners. So that'll tie in that bottom and keep it pretty firm and tight. This top section here will probably be adhered with a VHP tape. So that'll keep this piece pretty secured. It's a really light piece. With all that, it's not going to go anywhere. So again, let me clean this up. We'll do one more test fit, drill these holes, and then go from there. Alright, so that transfers the holes that I need to drill out in the bottom here. And again, like I said, I'm going to use speed nuts. So basically the little clips that have a nut on them. So I could clip those on and drive a bolt through it so that the nut won't spin. And originally what held the bottom tray in was this, so it's going to be a lot more secure than what the factory had. I'm just using that because we're sandwiching the bumper cover, the tray, and now this additional piece. And usually what you'll do to hold this additional piece in is a rivet or like a screw. So I'll just end up using a small bolt, but with a speed clip with the a nut attached to it. A good stopping point for today. It's already getting dark. I'm gonna get a couple fasteners for the center and both sides. We'll get jumping on it tomorrow. I got a late start today, but yeah, we'll wrap it up tomorrow. Put on the VHP tape and then the fasteners, and then we'll drop it off for exhaust and down. On the car today. There's a couple items that I noticed that I wanted to tackle while I was cleaning up last night. I did them off camera, but I'm going to go over them with you right now. One of them is the under area here. Since the diffuser has a grill section that's open, This section back here was white before, so I painted it black. I used a duplicolor engine enamel low gloss black. So I think it gives a better look. It doesn't stand out behind the grill of the diffuser. The other thing is I pulled back the trunk liner. There used to be a storage compartment that sat back here, and it hung down about good 7.5 inches below the trunk floor, and it would possibly interfere, if not make it very tight for the exhaust on the passenger side. You can see the hole right here, and this is the piece that I removed. So you can see it's approximately 8 inches tall. This flange sits above the floor, so anything below this flange sits below the trunk floor. I picked up a piece of sheet metal. I'm going to cut that to size to fit the hole, rivet it in place. Before I put it in place, I'm going to coat it with the VHT primer, just because it's so close to where we're going to be putting the exhaust on the passenger side, and then also the duplicolor low gloss black engine enamel. It'll blend in real nice there and look clean and professional. We'll be able to put back the trunk panels, and we'll still be able to have a smaller storage compartment, because this actually sat on top of there, so it was a pretty it was actually a pretty deep storage compartment. Make sure you sat this way. There you go, like that. So it's a pretty deep storage compartment. So removing the bottom section of it, we'll still have the top section of it, and then it'll our sheet metal will be painted low gloss black. So where the garage floor is now, that's pretty much how deep the new storage compartment will be. We'll still end up having a storage compartment there, and we'll clear up all the room for the exhaust down here with no interference. Alright, let me cut that piece out, and then I'll show you the installation process. We're going to rivet it in. This piece was originally riveted in. You can see one of the pop rivets still left from the factory. I'm going to put a bead of body sealer around it, so this way it will be protected from any fumes coming in the trunk floor. The factory just used this rubber seal all the way around in pop rivets, so it'll be as good, if not far superior than what the factory had done. So let's get that going, and then let's attach the diffuser permanent close, and also the hardware that I'm using. So these are the J clips that I was telling you I was going to use. They basically have a 5/16 bolt attached to a clip, and they clip onto the bottom side of the a bumper, so that you could bolt right straight through it, and the bolt won't twist on you because the clip holds it against the bumper. The other hardware I'm using, since it's visible, I wanted to make it look cosmetically nice. I'm using 5/16 stainless steel button heads, and then instead of a plain washer, I'm using anodized, black anodized beauty trimming. When you put them together, they have an actual nice look to them. Get this to focus so you can actually see. I'll show you on the bottom of the so if you see on the bottom of the diffuser, gives it a nice look. I mean, nobody's going to really be underneath it, but if you happen to maybe catch it You know, the car's stock height now, but I plan on lowering it, but still, it looks a lot better than a sheet metal screw or a trim screw. Again, you know, little details like this set your car apart from other cars. And then also too, you're going to have a lot sturdier attachment using a bolt and a nut and bolt than a sheet metal screws. It's going to pull through plastic. So it's stronger and it looks better. So let me get that last J hook on. We'll start fitting this and getting it on permanently. So everything's all bolted in now. That's a nice tight fit even without the VHB. I have a little bit of gapping here, tiny hair. Everything here is dead tight all the way around. You figure it's just bolted at the bottom and stretched out against it. Right now I'm gonna do the same thing like I normally do with the spoilers. Basically make my tape marks. I already have my center line. This tape hangs down a little too low, so I'm going to draw a line across it so I know how much tape to remove. Start making some more tape marks so when I fit it to the car, I'll have my center. I'll make a tape mark for my height so I know how high to get it. It'll basically tape on first and then all the fasteners underneath. So I want to make sure that when I apply it, it's not too far high left or right, and then not too far left or right. This is technically a little bit more complicated than the spoiler, because the spoiler pretty much fits the shape of the car, whereas this you're stretching to the bumper. The bumper has a lot more flex than a trunk lid. So let me put my marks and everything, and then apply the VHB, and we'll get this fitted for the last time. The other thing too for these J hooks, all the fasteners that I'm using are stainless steel. Those anodized beauty rings, those are aluminum anodized. None of those will rust, tarnish, or anything, except for these J hooks. These J hooks are they're steel, basically like a black iodized or black coated steel. So I'm going to dust those with some paint, because those are the only fasteners I use that are not either stainless steel or aluminum. So those are the only fasteners that I did put on here that will actually rust over time. So I am going to dust those once I remove this one last time with some black paint. Other than that, everything that I did put on here is either stainless steel, aluminum. It won't rust, it'll last the lifetime of the car. So let's pull this off. Or let's make my marks, pull this off, and get this on for one final time. Like I said, fitment looks really good on it. VHBs on the diffuser, fasteners or the J-clips are touched up with some black paint. All my reference points are marked so we could get the diffuser on for the final time, and that's it. So let's start pulling off the red backing on the VHP tape, get the diffuser on and tighten it up. much wraps it all up, so let's start getting the tape off. Well, actually, before I get the tape off, let me pull you off the tripod so you can see my tape marks. So you can see I pretty much lined up all my tape marks. So let's pull off all the tape, see how it looks cleaned up, and then I'll also let you see how it looks underneath too. really nice. Fitment's really good. Nice and tight to the car. No gaps, even on all sides. And then, like I mentioned, underneath came out really nice with the fasteners. Again, nobody's really going to be looking at it underneath, but it's a clean job. Again, it's better than using sheet metal screws or the plastic clips that came back with it. It's a lot more sturdier and it gives it a nice detailed look. Alright, so it's kind of late. I'm going to get that panel for the trunk in tomorrow. I'll film that when it's all finished up and the trunk buttoned up so you can see what that looks like. And then I'll clean up the back. We'll head over to the exhaust shop, get the exhaust put on with the carbon fiber tips. I think that's really going to set this off. Alright, so that's it for tonight. Alright, welcome back. It's the next day. I got the delete plate for the rear compartment completed. It's all painted and everything. Holes drilled in it. We're going to toss that in. I'm going to put it in basically with rivets. That's the same way the original package tray was put in. And then we're going to use some body sealer or seam sealer to put it in. So let's toss that in right now and I'll show you what it looks like once it's in. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up. Let me pull you off of the tripod. You take a closer look of what it looks like. As you can see, it looks like a nice factory piece. The other piece was riveted down the same way. And then from underneath, it now gives us plenty of space to do the exhaust. So you don't have any clearance issues. So that pretty much wraps it up. We're going to take it to the muffler shop, get the exhaust done, and then I'll film that, and then I'll tidy up the trunk right after that and do the show you the after of this package tray I want to put sound deadening over this with the foil top just to cut down on any heat. On the factory side, they do have a heat shield where the factory muffler went. So since they don't have that on this side, I do want to use sound deadening with foil on this panel. So that wraps it up for this segment until we go to the muffler shop. All right, everybody, we're over here at Mike's Mufflers in El Monte, California. They just got started on the F10. Once they get closer to being done, I'll show you guys the underneath. Here's the inside of the shop. I've used these guys many times. They do a lot of BMWs, Mercedes, muffler deletes, resonator deletes, X pipes, Y pipes. They really know what they're doing. So I'll have their information down below. Again, once they get done, I'll show you underneath and show you what it looks like. All right, they pretty much wrapped up the car. We're gonna go and check out the underneath. You can see the tips look amazing. They really set off that diffuser. Let's go down and check it out. Start it up, see what it sounds like. Not loud at all, it's pretty quiet. Yeah. Full 3-inch exhaust all the way back into 2 mufflers. The carbon fiber tips. The Y pipe. And the J pipe. Alright, so we're going to finish wrapping up the trunk on this diffuser install. I already got the sound deadener material on the panel that we installed. I'll take you off the tripod so you can see it. I got the piece of carpet that we're going to be installing over the sound deadener material. I'm going to be using a Gorilla spray adhesive to attach that to the sound deadening material, and then basically we'll just be putting all the factory trunk pieces back in. Let me take you off the tripod so you can see the sound deadening material, and then we'll put this in fast speed and watch. You can see me put everything back together. All right, you can see I use a XXX rattle trap sound deadening material. I've used this on a lot of other builds. Works really good. It's equal to Dynamat at a cheaper price. And then it's the foil backed sound deadening material, so it actually does reduce heat in anything that you attach it to. I did make it larger than the panel that we installed. so it acts as an additional barrier for any sort of gases that may try and enter the trunk. Even though we did use a seam sealer on the panel, this overlaps the panel again, so it's basically a second barrier if the seam sealer would fail. So again, this is far superior than what the factory actually did. The bumps right there that you see are actually the bumps from the rivet heads. So let's basically install the carpet over that, and then we'll put the tray insert in there, and then all the other trunk panels in. So that pretty much wraps up the trunk and the diffuser and muffler and exhaust install. I'll take you off the tripod. Now you can see that compartment all upholstered and everything. Like I said, if nobody knew it was deeper than what it was from the factory, nobody would actually know. It looks like a factory piece now when all said and done. As you can see, it pretty much looks like factory now. It's still plenty deep enough to store stuff in. It still has the factory lip and ring. Still nice and padded and everything. So, I mean, just as much as well, actually nicer than what the trunk floor was, and nicer than what it was to begin with. So that wraps it up for this episode. Again, if you haven't done so already, please remember to like and subscribe down below. It really helps us out a lot. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be working on a classic vehicle. We've done a lot of modern cars. Our first episode was a classic El Camino, but now we're going to go back and do some classics to kind of break up the monotony of modern vehicles. We will be switching back and forth. This way it doesn't get too tiresome of just all modern or all classic or all one thing or the other. Stay tuned for our next episode. We'll be bringing in a classic in the shop and working on that. Again, thanks for watching. See you next episode.